Thank you for returning again. This is the first video in 2022, and we are Esoteric Soul Teachings. So it's very exciting to start this year out with the main focus, and that is that we're going to look at what we can do to upgrade our consciousness in this new time. The paradigm has already started to take place all over the planet. Groups of enlightened beings are gathering for the sole purpose of raising our consciousness and assisting us in releasing ourselves out of the mechanical matrix that we've all been in. I'm thrilled to be part of this, and hopefully we can move in a way that will assist. What I'm bringing in today has to do with astrology, which it's been a focus of mine, let's say, since I was 17, and I've utilized it for many purposes. This will be one of the first of many focuses that we'll be working with on this channel. One of the things I want to talk about today has to do with a planet by the name of Uranus. I don't know how many of you are astrologers, but Uranus is a very interesting, unique, and somewhat complicated planetary influence. The reason I'm talking about it today is that it's particularly strong in the universe right now as we're making these changes. And it will continue to be in the years to come. All of the planets that have normally been on Earth, in Earth signs, are now in air signs, or moving into air signs. And through the next 2 years, that's where the emphasis is going to be, is on mental transformation, vision, changes. And most of all, the message today has to do with don't expect consistency, because it's not going to be taking place. I'm sure some of you have already noticed that you plan something and blip, it changes. So what we're looking at is what I described as riding the dragon, in that we don't know where the dragon's going. We know it knows where it's going, but we're going to take the ride. So all of us that are steeped in rules and things need to be a certain way are going to be in some frustration and in some change in terms of their flow. So my recommendation for all of us is to reach that point where we are able to spontaneously move through the changes and see what happens. It's kind of interesting. We may think if this changes, this appointment changes, or this individual leaves our lives, say for instance, that's not a good thing. The truth is, we don't know. And if we wait long enough, we see the absolute brilliance of the whole thing, because Uranus gets rid of anything that no longer serves us. So, whether we like it or not, by the way, whether we get to choose it or not. So change makers is who we are in this new world, this new earth we're creating. So as we look at what we can do about that, we can be in the flow, in the present moment. You keep hearing that, and it's absolutely true. But there's a slight switch here. Uranus is also a visionary, and it sees into the future from the standpoint of new ideas and new ways to do things. Highly recommend that all of you listen to your dreams, write down ideas, keep your motion in terms of stretching yourself out beyond the limits, because certainly Uranus and the sign it's in, which is Aquarius, definitely works outside the box. So those of you who already work outside the box, it's not going to be too extreme. But for Those who don't could be a little ragged or rough. So as you're adjusting to this and to the changes and to the inconsistent flow that is taking place right now on the planet and will, as I said, in the future, what you're going to start doing is using certain tools that may help, or you could use, if you choose to, certain tools that might help. So these are some of the tools that some of the ancients used. So I'm going to sort of take you back in time and imagine yourself in an ancient culture going through these changes, because it is a cycle. And let's look at what that might be and see if we can return and use those things to our advantage. All right, one of the first things is what's better than nature? Being in nature. Feeling the ground under our bodies, hearing the birds, looking at the beauty around us. It absolutely is the most brilliant tool we can possibly use. And the ancients didn't have much choice. They were all about nature, and many tribes still are. The next thing we can do is creative projects. I envisioned these ancient people building canals and figuring out how to do homes and projects. Well, for us in this modern time, let's be creative. It is the flow that we need, is creativity. So, and particularly, I might add, creativity that has to do with helping humanity. What kind of thing you can do that would be of assistance to humanity. The next thing that came in every ancient culture, there's music. Now sometimes the music is drums pounding on tree trunks. It can be the sound of water, but the music, whatever music assists you and allows you to experience that inner centeredness within yourself, that clearing within your soul. Now the last one that I came to was take 30 minutes, take an hour, and do nothing. Just breathe. Allow a space. Allow a moment where there's nothing going on. There's a very powerful teacher by the name of Gurjeep, who I've studied for years. And he had a very strong impression that what creates consciousness or continued up-leveled consciousness in mankind was intervals, breaking of sequences and shocks. That was one of he felt, the only way humanity would shift. Well, we're seeing a lot of that now with all the earth changes and with all the things that are taking place. So is it possible that these interruptions and these shocks are part of the whole plan? If we're not creating, we're dying. If we're not creating, we're not really living. So it seems as if it's very much to our advantage to keep our life in creativity, keep our life in flow. One of the things that this planetary aspect, this Uranian, Aquarian aspect, and it's coupled with an aspect of another fixed sign, which is Taurus. And so we've got to find that balance between keeping our feet on the ground and yet being willing to move into new realms of possibilities. So that's where we're going to fly this year and in the years to come. And I'm very, very happy to be part of this new earth and what's taking place here. And I plan to do more YouTubes whenever Spirit allows. When Spirit comes in and gives me information, I will be on YouTube. So come and be with me, and thank you for showing up.